Okay, let's look at this example of the shoe manufacturer, and they claim that for the general adult population, the average length of the left foot is longer than the average length of the right foot. And the manufacturer wants to gather data, and we have two possible scenarios here. And the question really is, which method makes more sense? And we also know which of these methods is dependent and which of these is independent. So first of all, in the first scenario, 60 adults are drawn at random, and for these 60 people, measurements of both their left and their right feet are taken. And I've set up a little table here, and method number one more or less describes describes what's going on in method number one. So we take 60 individuals, so going all the way down to 60, and for individual number one, we measure that person's left foot. We also take a measurement of that person's right foot. We go to another randomly chosen person number two. We measure their left foot. We also measure their right foot. And we are going to do this all the way down for our 60 individuals. We will have 60 left foot measurements and 60 right foot measurements. Now, if I go back up here, in the second scenario, we are drawing 60 adults at random. And for those people, their left foot is measured. Then we take another 60 adults and we measure their right foot. So the table here represents what would happen in that method. So I randomly choose 60 people from the general adult population. And for these 60 people, I only measure their right foot. So I will have 60 measurements of right foot. Then I go and pick a different 60 people, and I've just listed them here numerically, so individual 61 down to individual number 120. Again, these 60 people have been chosen at random, and we will measure their left foot. Now, the question is, we want to, number one, determine what kind of sampling is done in each of these cases. In method number one, we have done what is referred to as dependent sampling, or it's a paired situation. For these 60 individuals, we do two measurements on those people. We measure their left foot, we measure their right foot. We want to compare the length of the left foot to the length of the right foot. And ultimately, what we're interested in is whether there's any significant difference between their left and their right foot. And we will do that for all 60 individuals, and we will calculate the difference in all 60 individuals. And then we'll calculate an average, and we'll see how that goes later on in the notes. Now, in method number two, these 60 individuals right here, for which we're only measuring their right foot, have absolutely nothing to do with the 60 individuals over here, for which we've only measured their left foot. This is definitely independent sampling. One one group of people has nothing to do with the other group of people. As opposed to over here, this is paired. This measurement 9.3 is tied to that measurement of 9.2. It's tied by the same person. And then the question is, which of these two methods is better for trying to determine whether people have a longer left foot than they do right foot, or vice versa, whatever the question was asking us. And in order to answer that question, method number one, which is dependent sampling, is obviously the better one, because on any individual, we want to know whether there's any significant difference in the length of their left or their right foot. If I were to, for example, take individual number one over here, who has a right foot measurement of 8.6, and I have individual number 61, who's somebody totally different, and I measure their left foot, and that left foot is 7.5, it doesn't make any sense to compare that 8.6 to that 7.5. Yes, I could look at the average of the right-footed people, the average of the left-footed people, but there's all kinds of things that I'm really not taking into account. And ultimately what we want to know is within the same individuals, is there a difference in their left and their right foot? So this is a long way to going to say method number one, which is a dependent sampling, is the answer to this particular question.